All right, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you very much. And this is a live webinar that we're having to get ready for the weather that's coming up and the season that's coming, which is a really nice reprieve from a lot of the, very scheduled events that we've had throughout the year. And it's really a great time to begin to do things at home for a couple of reasons. One, of course, is that we can be set up so that when the kids are off of school or your life becomes less hectic, that you have the time to enjoy it. And another thing too is that it's a great time to get started. It's a great time to take the time to do it because there is so much less on your plate, right? So anyway, so that's what we're doing today. This is the second video that we had. The first one, I'm going to do a little bit review of what we went over, just slightly to refresh our memories. And also, if you had any questions about anything from last week or anything at all, please write them out. But do me a favor and make sure you reference them. So if it's something that I have just mentioned, that you will reference it with what it is that I said. You can't just say, I hate when that happens. How can I stop that from happening? Because I won't remember what it is that that was. Okay? So in this Let's Get Ready for Fun room by room webinar series, our goal is to plan to transition smoothly from winter to spring to spring, summer, and get ready for fun, and how to enjoy the upcoming nice weather at a slow and leisurely pace with knowing the house is under control. And the reason I say that is because if we know that there's a plan, then we can easily walk out the door with the mess behind us and not feel guilty. And also, we will allow ourselves to walk out the door to enjoy the day or something because we had the plan. Sometimes we'll leave the house feeling bad about leaving the house because of what a wreck it was. And then other times we won't even leave the house because we think, how can I go out and do that when there's so much to be done? So that's how we're going to do it. All right. We're going to do it because we're going to have a plan to get it done. And that gives us the freedom to enjoy life guilt-free. So we're going to go through a little bit of a review from last week. You wanted to realize how you tick, right? Make a decision, determine a schedule, and stay committed to it. And I asked you to write it down. I said, I want you to literally write it down. Now, here is something that, you may want to write down. I've written this down. So this is something that you might want to write, okay? And it's important to have something in writing that you determined that you're going to do, that you declare that you're going to do. Because when it's in writing, you can be reminded of it on a regular basis, and that's what makes things happen. Because what you want to do, you will do. What you forget about or what becomes minimal as time goes by, we just stop. We stop thinking that's important, and then we stop doing it altogether. So I am committed to stick to my plan. I will continue to do what I need to do no matter what. And really what I wanted to write was no matter what I tell myself, but I had no room. So I had to say no matter what, because when we start on a plan and when we start on anything that we want to do, after a little while, especially when things start to get a little bit good, we start convincing ourselves we don't need to do it anymore. So reading this on a regular basis, that kind of thing, would be really good. All right. Now, the other thing that we talked about was just say no. That was one of the habits. Now, in Tidy Tutor University, we have 12 habits that we have to implement, and we're really, so far, only going to go through 2 of them, all right? Today, we're going to add another habit. Here's another thing that we talked about. I wanted to know what you kept your seasonal clothes in, and we talked about this pretty much in depth on the first video. I recommended it Apple boxes. We also talked about bins, plastic bins. So that's in the first session. I want you to be selective about the things that you're going to keep, right? When you're taking your summer clothes out or your nicer weather clothes out, to be, put in the main area where you are, if that's what you do, because sometimes you have enough space that you don't have to do that. And if that's the case, then you're going to want to go through the winter things that are now not going to be worn and start purging. Be really selective. Don't put away anything that you don't want to keep, and don't put anything out that you're going to wear that you don't love, don't need, doesn't fit you, right? Get rid of the stuff that is in excess. Okay. Establish a storage area, and this will help you for the next time that the winter comes around, because you're getting rid of everything now. You're taking things that are wintry, right? I mean, you may even have some Christmas things hanging around, right? You probably have some Easter things hanging around. So these things have to be put somewhere in storage. So do it right now. Like, do it right this time, so that when that season comes around, because if you're going to hang out with me, right, we're going to go through every season together. So every time one of the seasons close and another one open, it's an opportunity for you to go into the next year, ready and successful to begin, right? To begin that time, and kind of like a head start to it, right? You were to get a binder and make a divider for storage. This way you have a place that you can keep all of the information that you need. And we went over that in session 1 too. Write down the contents of each box and note where it is stored. We talked about the outside. I'd like to hear from you how you did with this. Did you do anything? You may be in a part of the world where it's still very cold. Maybe you might even have had some snow between then and now. Or you might be in a part of the world that's always lovely, but still, even though we could use the seasons as a tickler to refresh, to revamp, to, not let it get stale and to pick up. So there were things that we had to address on the outside, and also our entranceway. We wanted to, really take a look at our entranceway and figure that out. So I'd like to hear if anybody has done that. Okay. Now, for this upcoming season, there's things that you're going to want to do, and you're going to need to be prepared to do them. You're going to want to have outside, activities, and you're going to have to do some, gardening, possibly things that you have, overgrown, or maybe there's things from the last season that are still like, stuck in the ground, like I don't know, even maybe for Easter that just passed, or any kind of holiday that might be still out there. I just happened to pass, believe it or not, a Christmas tree on the side of the road that somebody took out of their house. So, it happens. So there's that. Okay. One of the things I mentioned about this is that, you may have your things that you need for this season in a garage or a storage area outside that is overly cluttered and is difficult to get to. You're not going to care about organizing that now, all right? You're not going to be like, oh, well, I would love to do that, but this is such a mess. Before I can get to my beach chairs, or before I can get to the lawnmower, or whatever it is that you need that's out there, the leaf blower, I have to organize this. No, you don't. Remember, a lot of times we are all or nothing. And that doesn't serve us. It doesn't work. So what you really just have to do now is get to the stuff that you need, clear a space so that you could have the stuff that you need there. And when you're taking the stuff from this season that has to get put away, be conscious of it. Write it in the binder. If you can't put it in a place where there's no ground to even put it down on, then do the best you can putting it in a spot all together, so that when the time comes, at least you know where it is. And when you are ready to get to that area, when that time comes, then all of your stuff is together for you to be able to portion out in an area of your storage that's more orderly. Okay. And now the reason I have the picture of me in the center there putting oil in my car is because, the car has to be thought about now too. You might want to take some road trips. You might want to, drive to a lake or the beach or a park or the city or somewhere and have, some outside fun. And the car has to be thought about. All right. So Start thinking about the car. Now, this week, we're going to be adding a new habit and how to get rid of the excess. All right, that's what we're going to focus on for this webinar. And so here's the new habit. All right, do it now. This is very, very important, the do it now habit. Okay, we have these two habits that we're implementing as we're doing this, the say no and the do it now. Now, I want to say a little bit of something about say no. I just got off the phone with a consult with someone, and she was saying how she doesn't want to say no. There's some things that she does and she just wants to do them. I want to make sure you understand. I'm not telling you to say no to things that bring you joy and things that you want to do. Now, that might have to be the case when you're beginning something. Like let's just say that you are just starting college, right? And you have a full workload and you have children at home. Well, if there's things that bring you joy, but it will stop you from being able to do your assignments, you're going to have to say no to those things that, you know, that make you happy, that you don't want to say no to, because right now for a short time you're doing something so that you could be successful at it. Some things you're going to have to say no to. But at the same time, really think it through when somebody asks you to do something. When somebody asks you to do something that will not bless your life, will take away from what you need to do for you and your family, or your children, your life, your home, and is not something that you want to do even, you know, you've got to step back and say no. Remember that I talked about what the organizationally gifted do. If you ask them anything, they never immediately say yes. They always say, wait a minute, I need to check my planner. Or give me a call tomorrow, I need to check my planner. Either they can check their planner right then, or they have to let you know about it. But that's what they do, and that's what you have to do. You have to see that your life is very important, and that before you will agree to do anything for anyone, or even have an appointment, even make a necessary appointment, you have to check your planner. All right. And then as far as the things that bring you joy that you don't want to say no to, then say yes, but say yes in a way that will make your life happier, not stress you out more. Okay. And the do it now habit, that is something that is so necessary if you want this to work and not be a quick fix, right? I know so many people that have had professional organizers come to their homes, and they would leave and there was this beautiful fix to their home, but because they lacked good habits, it was a short time, within 3 months time, it's right back where it started. And one of those habits that have to get implemented right now, because you're beginning on, you know, this plan, is the do it now habit. If you have something in your hand and you're going to put it down on the table, tell yourself no, put it away now, do it now. If you're taking off your clothes and you're leaving your bathroom, you stop yourself and you say, no, I walk out of my bathroom with the clothes that I took off. Do it now. You have the towel in your bedroom and you're about to dump it on the floor or just put it on the back of a chair. No, do it now. Put it on the hook. If you don't have a hook for it, that's something we're going to deal with now. You want, and we'll talk about that later, but having a place for things is mandatory. You have to have a place for things so that do it now thing can actually happen. Because if you don't have a place for something, what are you going to do now? Put it where it doesn't belong, right? So that's really important. It saves you so much time searching for things, and it keeps the house so orderly that it makes you happy. Now, I'm not saying that doing it now is going to clean up your house, but it will stop all of the mess from having any more babies, okay? So anything that you're working on from now forward won't be sabotaged by any of your bad habits in the past, right? So that if you're making a mess in the kitchen and the kitchen is already a mess, you're going to walk out of that kitchen cleaning up the mess you just made. And that's all, and that's fine. Okay, now remember, our number one obstacle is too much stuff. And this is what we're going to need to do. We need to de-junk, all right? Now, I can't get into this as deeply as I do in Tidy Tutor University, but you will definitely be able to make a dent in what you've got to do, all right? And this is the thing that you need to de-junk. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to go to a room that makes you the most stressed, a room that would make you the most happy to have in order. Most of the time, it's your kitchen, but it could be your bedroom. I really do recommend that you take time for your bedroom because there's so many less things that have to be done. Now, of course, maybe if you're a teacher, I think like at the end of a school year, you have more on your plate. You know what your life is like. You know what's going on in your world, right? But we're coming on, we're coming on to a time of year where there is more time. And because of that, I want you to think about your bedrooms, okay? Bedrooms are so important. It's the place that we generally throw everything because no company goes in a bedroom uninvited. So that's an easy door to shut, right? But it's one of the most important rooms for us. It should be a sanctuary. So that's something that I want you to think about, okay? And where I want you to start is in a room that'll make you the most happy. So to get something done in. And these are the things you're going to need to de-junk. 3 boxes, right? And one needs to be a produce box, just like that apple box that I show you there. A small jar or a piggy bank. Now, I think I'm going to change that to be a coffee can because so many people have told me that they find way more change than a small jar will hold. You need a garbage pail, something to throw garbage in. Large garbage bags. Now, if you're going to take the garbage bags because this is going to be for Goodwill, you might want to have the white tall ones because they fit really nicely in those PAL boxes, in those boxes that you find in the parking lots. You need a timer. You could use your phone, a shoebox, a pad, and a pen. And I recommend a 3x5 pad. It's easily put in your purse or your suit jacket. And a planner. All right. And if you don't have a planner, you need to get one. And the planner should be something you can carry around with you. It could be one of those dollar store little calendar, looks like a checkbook kind of thing. Okay. It doesn't have to be anything special. Now, where do you start? We just talked about that a little bit. You start in the room that would make you the most happy to get done. Now, remember, we've already started on the outside and our entranceway, okay? So that's something that's already been started, and you want to, keep that up because it's because of the time of year that it is. A lot of us still have to have their, boots out. Maybe not their snow boots, but definitely boots that they won't be wearing, say, in May. So you will have to continue to revamp the entranceway until the season is here full blown. Okay, so that's going on. But the next thing you want to do is you want to start in a room that'll make you the most happy. Okay, and you want to do this from the inside out. We're going to start clockwise in that room. So determine what 12 o'clock is. So if 12 o'clock is your kitchen sink, that's where you're going to start, and you're going to start on the inside. And you're going to have 3 boxes: put away, give away, and storage. Now, these can be, one of them has to be a produce box. The other 2 boxes can be, a bin that you use that maybe you have around the house. It could be a hamper, an empty hamper. It could be a laundry basket, all right? But you need to have 3 somethings to put stuff in. You have to have a garbage and recycling, somewhere you can put your recycling, and you want to set a timer for 30 to 50 minutes. If you want this to go really you want to see tremendous results, then you want to do 50 minutes, 50, okay? 30 minutes is good. 15 minutes is actually very good still. So don't feel like, oh, I can't do that. For whatever reason, maybe your work schedule is so demanding that you just don't have 30 to 50 minutes. Maybe physically you're not well enough to endure that much time, remember to delegate, remember to get help, okay? Even if you're someone that can't get off the couch, if you have anyone in your life, tell them what you're doing and invite them over to help you for that 50 minutes. All right, that can happen. And I've had a member with MS is the person that gave me that idea. That's what she's done. When she was too, tired and weak to do anything. She didn't not do anything. She called her sister, she called her mother, and she scheduled them to come for 1 hour to help her. So that's something that you could do, okay, if you have to. You have to empty the put away no matter what and when the timer goes off, okay? So the timer goes off in 50 minutes or 30 minutes or 15 minutes, and you have a put away box. And what that is that it's something that you put away in another room in the house. So you're inside of the kitchen cabinet and you come across a bikini in there and you're like, what the heck is this bikini doing in there? And so you want to put that away in another room in the house. And so you will put that in a box that is put away. When the timer goes off, you will have, after going around the room, you'll have that box pretty well filled up. You have to put that box away. You don't have to put those things in a place that they belong in the other room that they belong in, but you have to put them in the other room that they belong in, okay? And what you're doing with storage is anything that doesn't belong in the main living area, like say you come across some Easter things, right? Or maybe let's think help me out here. Say you come across, oh, I hate when this happens. A scarf, all right? And right now, you're not going to wear scarves. That's going to go in the storage, all right? So anything that you come across that has to be storage, maybe tools, all right? Maybe you come across some tools, and that goes in the storage area. That just goes in the storage box. And you don't put the storage box away. When the storage box is full, you put the lid on it, and you worry about that when we get to storage. And that, again, is in TTU. But at least you'll have everything that goes in storage in your storage area, so you'll know where to look for it when you need to. Okay, let's see. All right, that's that for that. Now, this is what we talked about last week, and I'm sure you're going to have questions, so please make sure you ask them. Well, last week we asked this question, and this is going to be a part of where you start, all right? Where do you want to start? Because this will give you some insight to that. And it will also help you to see what you really want to focus on and what needs to change. Now, if you did this last week, I'd love to hear some of your answers. What causes you to struggle the most? What causes you the most stress or embarrassment? What would make you the most happy to see change? These questions, when answered, will help you to determine what to begin with and what to focus on. See it. See what you want to happen. Envision the space and the area that you want. And when you can narrow down what is causing you the most unhappiness, the most stress, the most struggle, the most embarrassment, what you want to change most, when you can do that, it becomes, because sometimes I think, we might not know exactly what we do want, but we almost always know what we don't. And when you can define what you don't want, you can now take all of the negative and change it into positive and make a decision that you're going to think about it in this way. Like, let's say I don't want this, let's see. I don't want to, all right, I'm going to do this. I have a girlfriend that just said this to me. I don't want to keep attracting the same men I attract into my life. I attract very needy men who do not treat me right into my life. I don't want to attract that anymore. Well, now that you know what you don't want, what you have to do is you have to focus on, all right, what do I want then? Because if the universe doesn't know what not or no means when it comes to your emotional discharge or emotional charge that comes from you. As long as you're putting out that energy, that is what you're going to get back. So what you want to do then is you want to say, all right, I want to attract to me men who are independent and have a healthy self-esteem. I want to attract to me men that know how to be courteous and treat a woman. I want to attract to me someone who can appreciate me just like I am and love me for who I am. You see the difference? That everything got lighter. Everything got lighter. But sometimes we have to think about what we don't want so that we can see what it is that we do. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping that I get some replies to this. I'm hoping that maybe you say, please unmute me. I can keep this slide up for a while so that you can address it and we could talk about it. I would love to. Okay. So that's it for this week. And I was really hoping that we could spend the rest of our time talking about those things. Let's see. Rose said, I have never done this before, but after last week's webinar, I made a decision, made a list, and have checked off several of the things. I need to be ready. It needs to be ready for me to be able to enjoy the summer. Clothes are almost done and plans made to address my yard and garden. Happy. Wonderful. See, now can you see how that feels to know that that yard is out there, that these things are there? But then as soon as you feel like, oh, there's a plan for that, everything lightens up, right? And you feel like you don't have any guilt. You can make a plan to do something fun because everything else is in plan, right? All right, let's see. Glenora said, my most struggle, discipline to stick to schedule. And it's pretty funny because it's probably all of our most struggle. And that's why we're in the mess that we're in, because we love to start projects. We don't like to finish them. And that's why a lot of times when people, jump onto anything, even my course, they go at it gung ho. But that's why I provide the support that I do, because I know what happens after a little while. We don't want to do it anymore. In the beginning, it's exciting. We love to think of the change. We love to think of what is in store for us because of what's coming up. All of that, we know, all of the promises, all of the things that people say about it, and we're excited. So it's fun. And then it stops being fun. And I think mainly the reason for that is because we stopped it because we stopped reminding ourselves about what our plan was and what we began with, why we got here. So that's one of the main reasons why I said write it down and look at it every day. All right. And something else you have to do is you have to be your own mommy. Okay. All right. You've got to be your own mommy. Say to yourself, wait a minute. I know you don't want to do that now, but you made a commitment to yourself and you know that if you do this, it will make you happy. And then make yourself do it. Give yourself some sort of a treat or something. You can even make the distraction that wanted to pull you away the treat. Like say I don't want to do that now. I want to watch this movie. Then say to yourself, all right, guess what? Do that now. And then get yourself a bowl of ice cream and sit down and watch that movie. Or get yourself a nice tall glass of water with ice and watch that movie. And then you're, in control of your life. And that's one of the wonderful things that this system brings you. It brings you the feeling that you're not the ball at the end of the paddle and you really do have control over the way things go. So I hope that helped. Marilee said, I am checking ideas on Pinterest for ideas for my porch. The entry from the basement is being cleaned up, and I am pleased with the progress. Amen. That's beautiful. And I think that's a great idea to go on the internet. Pinterest is a great place to get inspiration because when we see, I have a video on that. I think I'll play it somewhere. I'll put it up someplace. I have a video on on other houses, it's a great song in the background that I love so much. And then I have slides of other people's beautiful houses, because don't we always feel so motivated when we go to somebody's house and it's all together and it feels so good and it's all fresh and it feels nice and it's clean, and then we want to go home and we want to do it to our house, you know? So I think it's a great idea to, get the inspiration, right? Go online. It keeps you excited. And that's another thing you could do to keep excited. Remember, we don't have to do things the way the organizationally gifted do. They say, well, do first things first. Oh, you would never put up curtains while you were still painting a room. That's not right. You shouldn't do that. Oh, you would never decorate your door with a beautiful wreath while you're still cleaning out your porch. No, maybe they don't, but guess what? It keeps us going. So when you're doing your porch and or your entranceway, and you just got done with a big section that was maybe all sporting things that the kids had there, maybe, I don't know, just stuff that has, gotten to be gross because, with there's leaves there and everything else from kicking off the shoes, and you just got done with that whole section, and now you don't want to do the next section. You're like, I don't want to do that. What I really want to do is do it. But I mean, it has to be in that area. You know what I mean? Like, say you're saying, what I really want to do is I want to get a wreath for the front door. And so then do that. That will, but of course, what do you have to do to the front door? You're probably going to have to Windex it. You're probably going to have to do some, fingerprint removal and that kind of thing. Maybe you might have to get out some paint even and touch up some areas or something like that, right? And then you have a wreath up somewhere. You have a wreath in your attic, or you need to run somewhere to get that wreath for it. Do that, because that is what will keep you on track. It seems like it's getting you off track, but it's not. What is the goal? The goal is to finish that porch, right? So you work real hard on one section, and then you don't want to do the next thing. So do something fun in that room. Do something that makes you feel happy to do to that room. Of course, it's still progression. You're still progressing. When you're done, I guarantee you, when you're done with that fun part, you are going to be so ready and roll up your sleeves to do the next part, because now, you see what I mean? It's exciting again. You get it? I love that. Laura said, my biggest problem is that I have a hard time dividing my day, and being organized between housework and office work. Or Tuesday, Thursday, I work from home. I can't stick with anything either. All right, so I absolutely hear what you're saying, because I work from home and a lot of my things have deadlines and I have to be done by a specific time. And usually those things are the easiest things for me because I'm forced to. But the things that are kind of out there, and then of course there's home. This is what you have to do. Now, Laura, I don't think that you're in TTU. TTU covers all of this, all right? But I could give you a little piece of it. What you have to do are the things that must be done first. And it's going to feel like I can't do this because look at all of that has to happen. And by this, I mean like make your bed, shower, dress, and groom. It has to happen. First thing it has to happen. It works on you spiritually. It works on you, your performance, if you're not dressed and ready, even if you're home. So there's things that have to be done first, and do them, and scheduling is huge. Having a plan. What do I have to do? Taking a look, taking the time to take a look and say, okay, what do I have to do? Now, sometimes you have to implement something that will make you do those things. Like I just got done painting a really ugly picture. I like the frame. It's a little bit big. It's I don't know how big it is, but it's probably the size of from my the crease of when I bend my elbow to my fingertips. And it was an ugly picture with a nice frame. I actually bought it in one of those junk shops, and I painted the center with chalkboard paint. And so it works so good for me. I have that right next to my computer where I work. and I write the stuff down on there that has to get done. And then when it's done, it's done. It helps me. It helps me these things actually could probably be in a binder, but we're very visual people. And sometimes when something is closed up, we don't do it. So our regular routines that have to get done, that's fine to be in something in a binder. You open it up, you put it down, it's visual, you see it. But when you're working from home, a lot of times what we need is something like right in our face. And just, think about what you really have to do. What sucks your time away? What is it that sucks your time away? Take note of that, and then be your own mommy and don't go to it. Something that I do is, as soon as I wake up, I put on earbuds, and I put my smartphone on, and I put on something that's inspirational, something that I need to learn today. Maybe it's I have to, like, say this, like this morning, I knew that I had to review my last session so that I would be fresh to talk about it today. So that was what I listened to as soon as I got out of bed. Now, it was about an hour. So that worked great for me, because the whole hour, I felt like I was being productive, doing something, listening to what I had to listen to while I made my bed, while I did my morning routine. See what I mean? While I got everything that I needed to get, done this morning. Now, other times I'll put on something that maybe has been bothering me. Maybe I've been feeling like I've been too negative lately or something. So I'll find maybe a Louise Hay, something on YouTube that's about an hour. And I'll put that on. I'll put it in my ears. Another thing that it does for us is it engages both sides of our brain. And when our left side of our brain is being stimulated, we have the desire to do the things that normally we don't want to do, because our left brain, it's really hardly hooked up. Our left brains, us people who are organizationally challenged, our left brains are only partially hooked up. So that's why when we start with the right brain is so loud, like, oh, have fun, oh, do this, oh, you don't have to do that now. Or even just, the way we are, where we see the whole picture. And so maybe what we're saying to ourselves is, oh my God, look at all you have to do. And when that happens, we shut down and we do nothing. So putting something on your ears, music, it could be music, doesn't have to be something that, I like to feel like I'm being productive, because I feel like I have so much to do. And so it makes me feel like, all right, I'm doing what I need to be doing. But sometimes it'll be just music, because music stimulates the left side of your brain, which is the administrative side, which is what we need so that when we see the big picture, it doesn't send us to bed with a pint of Haagen-Dazs and a spoon, or to, sit on the couch or sit with your cup of tea forever before you get up and move, because it's overwhelming. I hope I helped you with that. Stacy said, struggle. Kids and dogs needs pulling me away. Stress and embarrassment. Okay, so let's do that. Struggle. Kids and dogs pulling you away. Well, I really probably would have to talk to you a little bit more about that, but those are things that is your responsibility, and that has needs. Like the dogs that are pulling you away, most likely that's because they need you. If it is because they want to play with you, then again, be your own mommy, if that's what it is. Now, the kids pulling you away, you have to, really take a look and say, how have I trained them? Remember, we teach people how to treat us. So you take a look and you say, well, what is pulling me away with the kids? Is it genuine needs? If it is, then darling, you're doing your job. Don't worry about it. If it is things that are easily delegatable, or they could do it themselves, or they're being pains in the butt, then those are just things that you're going to have to address. Knowing that there's this issue is the greatest thing, because that you struggle with it, because now you can address it and say, okay, here are the compartments of that struggle. How can I address each one? And then make a plan to do it. Maybe you need to get your significant other on board with something. Maybe you need to sit down and talk to your children. Maybe you need to employ a quiet as a mouse time. I've done that. I did that with my kids. I wish I knew this from the very beginning. I have a video on this. I'm sure you guys have heard it. It's a way for you to talk to your kids with respect so that you're not always telling them, shut up, stop talking to me, stop bothering me now, that kind of thing. You just tell them there's certain times of the day where mommy needs to be focused on something. And so at that time, it is quiet as a mouse time. And so if I say, it's quiet as a mouse time, then the thing is that they have to know that there is an end time to that. So say you need an hour, say you need 15 minutes, whatever it is, all right? However much time you need, set a timer so that they know it, so that they know when this timer goes off, quiet as a mouse time is over. And I always use that when I was grocery shopping, always. Because grocery shopping, they always wanted to talk to me online. And I always was like telling them to shut up, stop, I'm busy, stop, no. Or I would talk to them and then get confused about something. There was just all these things that happen when you're putting stuff on the belt. Maybe you have to keep track of how much did I spend? Who knows? So then there's that. And then when you get the stuff in the car, that's another time. Don't talk, not now. It's quiet as mouse time. All the way home, talk all you want. But when we get home and now I'm bringing the stuff in the house to put it away, not until I'm done putting it away. That's quiet as a mouse time. It makes it that your life is less stressed, and we give dignity to our children where we're not, barking at them like, we don't like them. And it also makes like a routine happen. It allows the routine to happen. So, okay, so there was that. All right, stress and embarrassment. If my husband walks in and the house looks trashed, even though I have been doing stuff all day, all right, now wait, listen, see, now that's what I call doing a lot of nothing. And the reason that happens is because you're jumping from thing to thing and finishing nothing. You have worked very hard all day long, but it looks like you did nothing at all. Stick to the plan. And I understand. I completely understand. You really have to just pull yourself back and say, this system works, but it only works if I work it. So don't jump all over the place. You've got, now remember, Stacy, you haven't been in TTU for very long. Give yourself a break, okay? These things have been developed in us for so many years. As you practice, you get better and better at it. When a kid falls down, they get right back up and they do it again. And that's exactly what we've got to do. So, all right, it is a little bit embarrassing and I get it. But you're working on it. And if you tell them, yeah, I know, I know. Today I jumped around too much, but I'm working on it. And then, brush the embarrassment off because you really are doing the best you can. And it will get better every day. Remember, I don't know if I say this in the course. I know that I say it in my book in the last chapter that when I was first learning how to play the guitar, I didn't know at all. I never played the guitar. And I called my brother John, who plays the guitar. And I said, I want to play the guitar. What could I do? So he told me, print out something from some website. He told me some guitar something. Make sure it has no bar chords and make it be a song that you like a Beatles song or a Bob Dylan song. A lot of them are simple. And then play every day. You'll get better. And I stopped him and I said, all right, yeah, but, and he said, no. And he wouldn't let me ask any more questions or go on. Every time I tried to say something, he stopped me and he said, no, Kat, just play every day and you will get better. That was his advice. He told me that he had a friend, Dave. He had a friend, Dave, in high school who played the guitar. John wanted to play the guitar. And he said, I asked Dave, what do? I want to play the guitar. And Dave said to me, just play every day and you will get better. And so I did. And I did get better. But this is the thing. I sounded like crap in the beginning. And of course you would, right? But what happens? Practice every day and you will get better. All right. It's really in the consistency where all of our success lies. And it's in the inconsistency where all of our failure is. Okay. All right. And what would make you happy? A functional home that stays picked up and cleaned easily. All right. And that will happen. It'll happen as you go through the system, as you go through your plan, as you implement your things. And I'm telling you, once you get a room completely dejunked and clean, you've got to put up the tagging game. All right. A lot of you don't know about the tagging game. I do believe I might have a free YouTube video on the tagging game, but it is gone into depth in TTU. The tagging game is where you find people for leaving their stuff out. It makes you aware of your unconscious clutter, and we usually are the worst culprits because you can get fined too. So it works beautifully. There's some rules to it too. Okay, Linda said, is it a good idea to set a specific time in the future when we want to be done, like September or a holiday? That's a double-edged sword a little bit. And the reason for that is because when there's anything ever in the future, it's not now. And as long as it's not now, our natures are, I can do it later. We have time. Have you ever heard, if you have something busy, if you have something to get done, give it to a busy person, because there is no choice. Because they're busy, they have to do that, and they have to do it now. There's no time to do it later. So there's that to have the projection of a far off date in one respect can be dangerous, but sometimes it just has to be necessary, and it's kind of what we're doing here in this way. We're setting ourselves up so that when that time comes, we're ready for it. So in one way, it has to happen, but to make it like too far in advance, I guess that's the best way I can say what's going on inside of me. To make it too far in advance, I would never do that. I would never say by this time next year, right? I mean, we do that in January, and look at what that does for us, right? How many of us stick to our goals that we start in January? By this time next year, then it's too far away from now. It becomes abstract. It becomes, I could do that anytime, and it falls off. If you're going to do like a future kind of thing, do it in small doses, do it in small time frames, and make a marked progress by that time. Like, say you want to get into a bikini by June and it's April. Well, then you take a look at your weight and say you need to lose 20 pounds. Well, then you're going to probably need to lose 10 pounds a month, right? You can easily lose 2 pounds a week if you stick to a diet. If you do something appropriate, that is the way you're supposed to eat and all of that. 2 pounds a week is absolutely doable. So what'll happen is you'll be 4 pounds short of your goal. I do things that you can kind of like make that happen. Like, you could do a 5-day cleanse, which is really, really good for you anyway, and say, all right, well, that'll take the 4 pounds off. That'll take or you could just decide, well, 8 pounds is going to be good enough for me. 8 pounds a month. See what I mean? But what you've done is you've given yourself a deadline, but you've made it so that you have a way to mark what you're going to do to see progress in specific amounts of time as you're getting there. Okay? Kiana said, last week my kids helped me clean out their closets. Let me tell you, they weren't happy at all. But I told them, if we do this now, we will have so much free time when the weather gets hot. And did that motivate them? I hope that it did. Let me know if it motivated them. And I think it was a great idea that you went through the closets with the kids. There's one of the reasons is because there's things that you think they're going to wear that they hate and they're never going to wear. So you go through them and you're like, why don't you ever wear this? And they say, I don't like it. Just get rid of it. It's just cluttering it up. And then from now on, don't buy them stuff that they're not going to wear just because it's on sale. You're not going to force them to wear it. It isn't going to work. I think it's a great idea that you did that. And what you're doing is you're training them and you're showing them how. So that as they get older, you will just have to say to them, I want you to go in your room and clean out your closet for 15 minutes, all right? Or until it's done, whatever comes first, all right? So that's, something that you can do so that that they know what to do because you've done it with them. Sometimes it's a little bit labor intensive to teach them how to do something, but it sure pays off in the end. Oh, Glenora said thanks. Oh, you're welcome. I suppose that I helped you with that answer that I had. And remember, and really, please, if there's something that you that you want more clarity for, just tell me. All right, Marilee said, I have too many projects to do. How do I evaluate the projects so I do what's most important? And that's something that I think is, um, like, all right, Stephen Covey wrote that book, 7 Habits for Highly Successful People. And one of the things he says in there is to prioritize, see what's most important and do first things first. And for us, sometimes it is the most difficult thing because it looks like everything is so important. What my guideline to what is the most important thing to do, how to evaluate the project so you do the most important, is I go for the happy factor. What would make me the most happy to get done? And that's what I do first. That's how I decide what project I should work on. Now, of course, if you're working on a quilt and but your goal this month is to get the house cleaned up, then I wouldn't consider that a project right now. Unless, of course, you have to have it done for, say, a baby shower or a wedding or something like that. If it's something that's a creative project that can be put off until you have a goal that you have set done, then I wouldn't go with that yet. I would put that on hold until I continued on with a goal that would make when it is time to do that quilt more pleasurable. But you would know better than me because it's in your life. But if you want to, Marilee, you can go to my website, thetidytutor.com, and click on there's an appointment tab somewhere, and we could talk. Okay. Glenora said stress, organizing thoughts and prioritizing since self-employed. One woman business, so dealing with house disorder and running a business at the same time. I know what you mean, and all it takes is just discipline. Like I think I talked about that a little bit before with the chalkboard thing. But something that's really important is you've got to do what you have to do first. Do what you've got to do first. Make your bed, shower, dress and groom. Get up 30 minutes before you actually have to during the day, to start your day. Clean up after yourself. Everything in your life feels like I can't do this because that is important or that has to get done. The way you live your life so that all of that does get done is by doing those things. And I know it doesn't feel that way, but it really is that way. And when you have a plan, you can feel good about stepping over some stuff while you're going into the kitchen because there's a plan to get to that stuff that you're stepping over. But you're not going to neglect making your bed, even though your room is such a wreck. You're not going to neglect picking up after yourself in the bathroom and hanging your towel up, even though the bathroom really needs to be cleaned. You see what I mean? It begins everything on a roll that works. Okay, Wanda said, my back hallway is clean. Awesome. All salt, boots, dog toys, all put away. Rock and roll. Hats, scarves, and gloves in a box. I threw away anything we couldn't find matches for. Rock on. I washed both doors. I feel like you are my friend that comes over and gets me motivated. God bless, Kathy. Yay! How great! We've got to have a retreat. I tried to do a retreat last year, and we could talk about that in a coffee talk or something. How that ended up to be like where I didn't do it. But I want to work on a retreat where we do it at the Jersey Shore, and I'm sure it's going to have to be next year because I'll have to give you enough notice. And it'll be a weekend. And what I'd like to do is to rent a mansion, to rent like one of those, 10-bedroom houses or something on the beach. And we all just stay in the same house instead of getting it where we rent, where we go to, say, a hotel and everybody gets a room and then we meet in a hall. Instead of doing that, it'll be more intimate. We'll stay in a house. And I think that would be just so great. So that's what I'm working on. Okay, Rose said, you can unmute me so I can read my list of homework, the 3 questions. Okay, Let's see. Let's go to Rose. Where are you, Rose? There you are. Okay, Rose, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Can everybody hear Rose? Yes. Okay, great. All right, go ahead,
Okay, first
Rose.
of all, yay. I'm so down with the Jersey Shore. I'm down for that.
All right.
I'm going to be there. So, okay, the homework from last week was pretty easy. The three questions. What causes me to struggle the most is feeling overwhelmed with my house, the clutter, the dirt, and the cluttered house equals depression. The second one is what causes me the most stress and embarrassment? Not being able to have people over, having to stop people at the door, and the shame, like, and the guilt that that makes me feel. The third one, what would make me the most happy to see change? And that would be my house cleans, routines at work, sticking to a schedule and a plan. So, but this was easy because now that I'm in the TTU, Tidy Tutor University, I have that.
Okay,
Um,
great.
like I feel like the whole world is opening up for me now. So
Awesome.
I'm planning on having a family dinner this summer, which I never would have been able to do. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's great. That's so
so
great.
easy.
Now, all right, so the struggles and the embarrassment that you talked about, and this is something too, where before when I got some messages that I read, what I went right into is let's solve this problem. And that really wasn't what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do was I think it was Marilee that wrote that to me, and Stacy and somebody else. Oh, Glenora. Um, I want you to take the struggles, and Rose, you too, the struggles and the embarrassment. And now you know what you don't want. I want you to now say what it is that you do want. Thinking about what the struggle is and what the embarrassment is. And so you know what you don't want. What is it that you do want? So, Rose, can you do that right now, do you think? Like you just said what your struggle was?
What I do want, well,
Yes.
I want a clean house. I want organization. I want to have a plan and a routine set and implemented that will keep me on track, which I think I do have at the Tidy Tutor University. And what I do want is to have people over to be able to say, yeah, come on in, and not worry that like the house looks like a bomb went off. I want to have my family over for a meal, and that has never happened in the 9 years that I've lived in this house. So yeah, those are the things I want.
Okay. So now, did you feel did it, like when you were talking about what you didn't want, did you have a different feeling when you were talking about what you did?
Oh, definitely.
All right. So I think it would be a great idea to write down what it is that you do want and read it. Because remember what I said before about like how we get started and somebody else talked about and that wrote that, they get started, but then it's hard for them to continue. That when you write when you can read what you do want, it keeps you motivated and, it stops you from saying, I don't want to do this anymore.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. All right. So that's good. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. I'm looking forward to the Jersey Shore.
All right. All right. Okay. Take care.
Okay, you too.
Bye. Could you talk a little bit about TTU and what is involved in it? Like how much individual help do we get? All right. Well, Tidy Tutor University is 4 sessions. They're videos and they're an hour each, and they're very comprehensive. So, and you take them at your own pace. Although I do recommend that you take one a week. And in the course, I actually talk about how to take the course. So, there's specific rules. Like we like rules because we can follow a rule. And as far as um, the individual help that you get a free 30-minute consult with me. And usually I like to tell people to wait until they get started a little bit so that they can really kind of see, what they want to talk about, what they're struggling with, that kind of thing. We have a once a week webinar. Once a week we meet online. Now, if you can't make it, and I change the times seasonally, so depending on where you are in the world, because sometimes you can't make it live because maybe it's middle of the night for you, but they're always recorded and they're put in our archives and they're in categories. So you can always get the latest coffee talk and listen to it. And I always address everything that has to do with what we do in TTU and taking care of ourselves and family and home. So we get into a lot of different topics. So there's once a week we meet live, and like I said, if you can't make it live, then you have it archived. We also have a private Facebook group that I am in predominantly more than any other group. And so you get not only support from me, but you get support from each other. We have begun to call ourselves, the Tidy Family. Like we'll refer to each other like "Good morning, Tidy Family." There's that, and then also anything that we do, like I did a room by room webinar that turned out to be a paid series. That is inside of my Tidy Tutor Insiders, which is what you get for 8 months. You get 8 months of that one-to-one, once a week help inside of Tidy Tutor Insiders, plus all of the other things that are in there. You will always be a part of Tidy Tutor University Alumni's Facebook group, where they're with everybody that has taken Tidy Tutor University. And if you want to continue on with Tidy Tutor Insiders, it's only $10 a month to do that once you have completed the 8 months. Because the reason that I offer that at no charge is because I sincerely want you to succeed. And I know that the additional help is what will get you there. We put off everything. Why would we think we wouldn't put this off? Only things that we don't put off are the things that we have support with, or things that we have to have accountability for. And so that's what I do with that. If you have any more questions, I'd love to answer them. Glenora said, another way to discard of lots of papers aside from shredding. You mean like things that are very important to you? If you have a chimenea or something outside, you could burn them. You can. There are lots of towns that have a shredding day, right? I believe also Staples and maybe the UPS store. I'm not sure about that, but I know that there's a lot of stores that will shred your stuff for you. They have, like, I don't know if it's on a regular basis, you just bring it there and they do it for you, or if they do it, once a month or once a week. But I know a lot of towns do that, where you could just bring it and they shred everything for you. It's like a bulk shred. I don't know if that helped anything. Another thing though, honey, is go paperless the most you can. The most you can do, go paperless. If you're anal about having a hard copy, you can still go paperless and just print out that one page. And in my papers video, I show you how you can get all of the papers for the whole entire year to fit in such a teeny tiny little space that it just needs a little rubber band around it, and you have them all. So even if you want to have the hard copy, you still can and go paperless. You just could print out that one page, that one declaration page, and maybe you want to write on it, paid this bill, check number 512, this date, so that you have that hard copy. I like to do that. That's actually what I do. Okay, Karina said, I have a problem with punctuality. I heard that if you can do something in less than 1 minute, you should do it now. But 1 minute plus 1 minute plus 1 minute, that's something. Also, most of the things I think would take under 1 minute usually take more. I say that almost everything takes 5 minutes, 5 minutes or under. So look at it like that instead. You're probably definitely right. Can you say probably and definitely at the same sentence? I'm sure you're right that 1 minute is probably what most things take. It probably even takes less. Like, I tell people to count Mississippis when they're doing something that they thought, oh, I can't do that, it'll take too long. Like, if you're just made yourself something to eat and you're about to walk out of the room, but you say, no, I have to wash that dish. Oh no, I don't have time. You do have time. Count. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. It's almost 10. It's under 10 Mississippis for you to wash that dish and put it in the drain. That's it. Or to put it in the dishwasher. 10 Mississippis. A lot of things are under 1 minute. But we have something with 5 minutes. It only takes 5 minutes. It's only going to be 5 minutes. So I recommend going with the 5 minute plan in your head and just do it knowing that it really doesn't take that long. Remember, like on the first video, I talk about that, our first webinar, I talk about that we have a warped perception of time. And that's something that we have to realize. The reason that this system works is because we're working it the way we tick, the way we think. And that reality that we have a warped perception of time is a reality. So you have to kind of override that and just say, I know that I think this takes too long. I also know that it won't. And I also know if I don't do it now, instead of me doing this 1 10-second thing, I'm going to have an entire weekend sucked up with all of these under 5 minute things that I didn't do when it was time to do them. So save yourself an entire weekend, baby, and do it now. And you will. And like I said before, practice every day and you'll get better. Okay, another thing. Also, most of the things I think would take under 1 minute usually take more. Yeah, they usually do. You're right. Maybe they take 5 minutes. If it's something that takes more than 5 minutes, it's not something that you just did and have to clean up. It's something that you let go. And if that's the case, you're going to just have to, buck up and do it because that's what it takes. Once we get through all of this, once we get through the foundation of doing what we need to do, now you're clear. Now you're clear to, really take 15 minutes or under to get really the serious stuff done. Okay? Take my word for it, really, honestly. Okay? Even the bathroom will take you no time to get done because of the system that we work with. I feel like I never clean my bathroom, but I clean it every day. But I never clean it. I never clean my bathroom, but I clean it every day. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Stacy said, listening to something inspirational is such a great tip. I need to listen to things to focus. I love listening to you. It helps me so much. And that's another thing that really will benefit you too. That when you're in TTU and you have all those coffee talks, they're all categorized. You can take a look and say, all right, well, I need some crisis help here. Let me find that. I need some help with my kids. Let me find one of those. Put it on your ears, get yourself some education while you're stimulating your left brain while you're getting some stuff done. There's nothing better than that. Okay, Stacy said, things are improving since TTU. I just have to have a way to go. Of course. I still don't play the guitar so great. I don't practice as much as I used to, but, it takes time, this stuff. Nobody's, a maestro in a year or two, right? But the thing about getting this together is, oh my goodness, it doesn't take like it does for music, for a musical ability, or for something that you're practicing that takes years to learn, to perfect. This takes like no time almost. Like it feels like, holy mackerel, how much has changed in such a short time. It really is true. No matter how much of a mess you're in, how bad you're buried, I'm telling you, 1 hour a day will get you out of there before the summer's over. No joke. All right. And maybe even before the summer begins. Okay. It's a process. There are good days and bad. Not giving up at all. Just keep trucking. There you go. Okay. What was the game you mentioned? Did you say changing game? What is it? It's called the tagging game, and that was Renee. Hi, Renee. It's called the tagging game, and it was something that I read I don't know if I read it or it was in a tape that I got from Sidetracked Home Executives, Pam Young and Peggy Jones, and they made up this game because the husband, who was a policeman, said that when you tag a car, that means that it's going to get towed and there's going to be a lot of money fined to that person that left a car on the side of the road, that abandoned a car. So the wife of the husband talked to her sister, Pam. Peggy was the wife of the husband, and she said, why don't we do that with our stuff in the house, and we'll charge the kids and ourselves, we'll tag them like you tag a car. And so the way it's done is you put it on on a piece of paper on the refrigerator or on a bulletin board. You mark everybody's name on it and you charge them. Could be 10 cents an item, could be 25 cents an item. It really depends on the demographic in your family, right? How much money people make, the allowance that you give. And I know a lot of people don't give allowance, and I'm telling you that it is worth its weight in a cleaning service to do this. It keeps everybody conscious of their unconscious clutter, and especially us. So I believe I have a video on YouTube for the tagging game. I will, if I do, I'll get it on our room by room Facebook group. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, one, this is Wanda. Procrastination, getting started. Two, unexpected guests. Okay, so one would be what causes you to struggle the most. Procrastination, getting started. Two is what causes you the most stress and embarrassment. Unexpected guests, kitchen, dirty dishes, dining room table full of paper, receipts and empty cigarette packs. Three, which is what would make you the most happy to see change? You want an organized life, your clothes, what's for dinner, and to never run out of gas again. That's hysterical. That is hysterical. Oh, Wanda, please try Tidy Tutor University. Please try it. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. I have it in payments too. It's $197. You have it forever. I said that you get Tidy Tutor Insiders for 8 months. But Tidy Tutor University, the course itself, is forever. After the 8 months, you could have Tidy Tutor Insiders for $10 a month. You won't even miss it. But the course you have forever. And I have it so that if you can't pay the $197, that you could pay $25 a month for 8 months, and that comes to $200, and so that you would have been able to pay the course off in time. Okay. Stacy said, oh, she could hear us. Okay. Renee, convince my 6 and 7-year-olds that they can sell their old toys at a yard sale in June, then buy new ones. They're putting toys into yard sale box, but I find them pulling toys out. Any suggestions? Maybe I should use smaller boxes and tape them up right away when full and mark them. That's exactly what I would recommend. I think it's great that you did convince them of that. And if anybody is having trouble convincing their kids of doing that, take them to a toy store with a little pad and have them walk around to choose the new toys that they're going to get to replace some of the old ones. And really look at it with them. And this would be a good exercise to do to help them to learn to be a minimalist, to only have what you really love and want and need, so that you could say, well, really, let's look at that thing that you want. Do you really want that? Or, wow, that's awesome. I can't wait for that to come into the house. We're going to have much fun with that. You know what I mean? And that, then you could maybe go on the internet or go in a magazine and cut out like a flyer, cut out the toys that they want, put them on a board, have them see a vision of it, maybe on a piece of, piece of 8.5 by 11 paper, or on a piece of oak tag or something, and put it up in their room or somewhere in the house that it could be, this is your goals to get, and we're putting our things in this box so that we can get those things. And then, I could absolutely recommend putting the tape on there, taping them up, and probably even moving the box out of sight from them, because they know what's in there. And, it's probably just smart. All right, Stacy, there is a copy place by me that shreds by the pound whenever. Ask at the copy UPS store in your area. Okay, thanks, Stacy. So there, they shred by the pound. Okay, Karina said, but because I take time to do 1-minute things, I don't get where I have to go on time. That doesn't make any sense to me at all. No, you have to plan appropriately. You can't sacrifice one thing to do something else. You have to make a plan, and you've got to get up early enough during the day. Getting up a half an hour before you actually need to leave the house stops us from spilling out the door and helps us to have dignity and to be able to get the things done that we need to get done. So that's not why you're late. It's your priorities are kind of like not in order. You're doing something to in the sacrifice of another. Um, think about what you have to do during the day. See, this happens to me a lot. I'll want to do something now, but I know that it's during the workday. And so I need to do that other thing at night because I can't communicate. Like, let's say I just painted the backsplash in my kitchen. It's not a backsplash really. It's just the wall. It's the wall behind the kitchen sink and all of that. I just painted it, and I wanted to do it yesterday during the day, but I need to communicate to my people during the day. I need to send out emails during the day. I need to make sure my video's edited and put back up on the site. That's what I need to do during the day. I can't communicate to you guys when you're sleeping, but I can paint later when nobody's going to be wanting to hear from me, or I don't need to have a specific time frame to get something done. So instead of painting during the day because I wanted to, I had to put it off to do it when it was most productive, when it was the most productive time to get that done, so that I didn't use my time foolishly. See what I mean? And that's not always so easy. Um, yes, absolutely. I got Renee asked me, would taking games work for 6 and 7 year olds? Absolutely, it will. Now, if you have a child that is way too young to understand about money, then it's your job, whoever is the significant person at that time taking care of that child, they get tagged for that person. So if you have a baby, a 2 year old, right, and or a 3 year old, and maybe even I think 4 year olds could do it. If you have a 2 year old, maybe up to 4 years old, that you're responsible for, and you leave the room and there's a wreck in there from that kid, then you're tagged for that kid. But yes, definitely 6 and 7, absolutely. You give them an allowance, and you have to make sure that you hand them the money, because what happens is when they get fined for it, um, the person that got the least amount of fines wins all the money, so they get it all. So that's the motivation to do well so that you can win. See? All right. So I have no more questions. I'm so happy that we had so much interaction. I love that. No homework. Um, yeah, the homework is the dejunking. We went through quite a bit. All right. Remember that we have to get these items, right? And we have to begin in a room that would make us the most happy to get started. And also, any of these things, I want you to think about what you don't want from thinking about what causes you struggle, most embarrassment, and what would make you the most happy to change. And I want you to make these positives. All right. Change them into what you do want. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.